to a democracy where, you know, one more than half the number of people decides everything.
What have you been involved in lately, and how can we, or how can those people out there learn more and help you?
So you can go to our website, givemeliberty.org, or wethepeoplefoundation.org, and get involved, get on our mailing list. It's a very large mailing list. We've had some, and spend some time, you folks out there, spend some time on our website. Become familiar with it. Look at some of the activities. Go to the archives, and look at what we've been doing. I think you're going to be surprised. We've been standing up and defending the Constitution. We're particularly focusing these days on the right to petition, the last 10 words of the First Amendment. And it's rather remarkable. The First Amendment guarantees 5 freedoms. You know about most of them, folks. The right of worship, the right of speech and press, and maybe some of you don't remember the right to peaceably assemble, get together and have meetings and criticize the government if you want to. But almost none of you will remember the last 10 words, the 5th of those 5 freedoms, which is the freedom to petition the government for redress, for a remedy to grievances. We have the right, if we think the government is doing something they're not authorized to do and they're oppressing the people in any way, we have the right to submit a petition for a redress of this grievance, for a remedy. And they have the obligation to respond. And if they don't, then you have the right to withdraw your allegiance. If they violate the Constitution, stepping outside the boundaries that we have drawn around their power, and we call them on it, and they ignore us, then as the Declaration of Independence says, a government that ignores a people is unfit to rule a free people. And so we have...
That's them breaking the contract that we have with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they break it, not us. And if they break it, then why would you want to give them any money? So the founders, in their own words, said that when rulers want money from the people and they have in any manner oppressed the people may retain their money until their grievances are redressed, and thus peaceably procure relief. So it's a nonviolent, pretty cool tool provided right there in the Constitution that most people don't know about. This is the language of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, that's the first freedom mentioned, or prohibiting free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, there's the second freedom, or of the press, the third freedom, or of the right of the people to peacefully assemble, as we're doing here today, that's the fourth freedom, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. That's the 5th of the 5 freedoms. In the First Amendment, if we have this document, this Constitution is all that stands between the people and total tyranny and despotism. If the founders left us nothing else except our state and federal constitutions and the essential principles underlying them, what else did they leave us? It's here. This is the ultimate rule book. If they step outside the boundaries that we, the people, have drawn around their power, they take possession of a boundless field of power. And we're screwed, to put it in the vernacular. So that clause is there for us to hold the government accountable. If you see them doing something they're not authorized to do, you can submit a petition for a redress or for a remedy of that grievance. You have a right to redress. It's a right that comes out of the Magna Carta. The cradle of liberty is the Magna Carta. It's mentioned there and in a lot of documents, as we'll see in a minute, since then. So it's powerfully important. It's our ability to hold the government accountable. But governments have never wanted to be held accountable, and ours is no exception. Governments, they don't like opposition from any quarter, when you get right down to it, right? I just want to walk you through briefly the Declaration of Independence. Okay. In the beginning, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but in the beginning, it's basically the founders saying, we're doing something important here, and we really ought to tell the rest of the world why we're doing it, right? I mean, that's basically the way the Declaration starts out. And then you begin, the bulk of the Declaration is the listing of the grievances. So if we just scroll down a little bit, Mike, you see the paragraphs, see the first one there, It says he's talking about the king. Stay right there, Mike. He has refused to pass, and he has called together, he's done this, he's done that, and scroll down some more, Mike. These are the grievances that the founders had against the most powerful government in the world, on the globe. A government we were living under for 150 years. Biggest navy, biggest army, biggest military, you know. We were living under that system of government, you know, for 150 years, you know, before all this happened. So the bulk of the Constitution is just a listing of these grievances. You can just scan them. I don't need to read them. And then this. This is the sentence that follows the grievances. This is what the scholars call the capstone grievance. It caps all the other grievances. And it is the grievance that caused the revolution, that sent us to war against England. What does it say? In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress, or for a remedy, in the most humble terms, and our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. That clause made it through every edit of the Declaration of Independence, with the exception of the addition of the word free. What does it say? It says, we have petitioned. This is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Our repeated petitions have been met with repeated injury. A government that doesn't listen to its people is unfit to rule a free people. That's what they're saying. And therefore, as it goes on, it says, therefore, we're out of here. You don't like it, come get us. And that's the Declaration of Independence. So go through those, when you get a moment, go through those grievances and compare our grievances today. Compare our life today with some of the grievances that the people had back then. There's a lot of similarities, you'll find. Imagine this, folks. No court has ever declared what the meaning of the last 10 words that is of the First Amendment. No court has ever declared. We know what it is. You study history and the historical context and purpose of those 10 words, and you find out that it means if just as I say, if government is doing something that they're not authorized to do and you petition them and they ignore you, then you can retain your money until your grievances are redressed. And that's a nice, nonviolent way to claim and exercise your rights and to hold the government accountable. Remember, the government is the enemy of freedom. Those aren't my words. Those are Ronald Reagan's words. But I believe them. Government is the enemy of freedom. Government is made up of people who have to suffer from the same human frailties that you and I suffer from. Love of power and love of money and so forth. And so people in office do all of these, you know, self-serving things. And as government gains ground, liberty loses ground. It's axiomatic. It's like day follows night. But we are blessed with a recognition explained right in the founding documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. We're blessed with the ultimate power. We have rights that are endowed by the Creator simply because you're alive.
Yeah, and they can't be taken away just because someone wants to put the crown of kingdom, you know, king on their head, yeah, exactly. And say, well, I'm your ruler of all ruler.
Right, right.
Yeah.
The founders sitting in Philadelphia in 1774. You might say, the scholars in the audience might say, well, how relevant was the Continental Congress sitting in Philadelphia in 1774 when the Declaration of Independence hadn't been signed yet and there's no Constitution yet and whatever. This is the Congress that adopted the Declaration of Independence. And in 1774, they passed an act unanimously. If money is wanted by rulers who have in any manner oppressed the people, they may retain it until their grievances are redressed, and thus peaceably procure relief without trusting to despise petitions or disturbing the public tranquility. They knew that people had the right to petition, but they also knew government might not answer them, because government doesn't like opposition from any quarter. They despise the petitions, the founders said.